Okay, well, welcome to our exciting webinar. My name is Philip Hess. I'm one of the co-founders of Senz umbrellas, and we developed these storm umbrellas. Actually, the program would be about Gerard, but yeah, we decided to switch it, and I'll do the presentation. So, what I want to talk to you guys about is basically how we built our brand. How we took it from an idea to a business, and yeah, how we took it from only a small idea to a global thing. So I will just go through this presentation. A little bit about myself. I have a background in industrial design engineering, and I also studied business administration. So yeah, it's a great combination between design and commerce. Yeah, we started our adventure about 6.5 years ago. A little bit over 5 years ago, we had our market introduction, and we're now with a group of 20 people. We're exporting to about 40 countries, and yeah, it's been a really exciting ride. As you can see on the screen, we've won virtually all major design awards in the world, and yeah, it's been one great ride so far. So I'll start the presentation. This gives you an overview of what we do. This is the part where we brag a lot. So, from the start, we've performed a lot of different wind tunnel tests, and as you can see, normal umbrellas, which we also tested, they quickly invert. And what happened with our umbrella, due to the shape and the construction, it's very counterintuitive, but the umbrella basically moves forward in the wind and then can resist 70 miles per hour or over 100 kilometers per hour storms. So we tested that extensively. Here you see Gerwin, one of my two partners, in the wind tunnel, and there's nothing wrong with the umbrella. It's still standing, but Gerwin is not. He had no idea we were going to use this as footage. So I think we've been on at least 20 or 30 breakfast shows in Japan. They really love testing our products in the craziest ways. This is Gerwin again. He's our part-time stuntman. And the umbrella can even keep you dry. So then we thought, what would be the ultimate umbrella test? And we actually found 3 guys crazy enough to jump out of an airplane with an umbrella. And the umbrella was still okay for a few seconds. So that shows you a little bit of yeah, the performance of our products and what we do. And I want to take you back to when we really started, because it started as a graduation project of Gerwin, one of my two co-founders. And it actually started as his graduation project, and I remember running into him and I asked him, okay, what are you going to do for your graduation project? Because he was an industrial designer. And he said, well, you know, I just had 1 week with 3 broken umbrellas, and now I'm sick and tired of all these crappy umbrellas, and I am going to develop the ultimate umbrella. And I remember looking at him and I asked him, like, dude, you're not going to spend a freaking year of your life on umbrellas, you know, how boring can it be? But in the end, you know, he decided to take the challenge and to really design and develop the ultimate umbrella. This is a short movie about umbrellas. I mean, the umbrella has been around for over 3,000 years, and it never really changed. And we started this venture purely out of frustration with traditional umbrellas. And there's some footage which is probably very well known to all of us. The different problems when it comes to umbrellas. So it can happen to any of us, even to George W. Bush. Here's where we're testing an umbrella called the Storm Shield. And it went inside out in a second. So then, what a lot of people don't know is that actually umbrellas are a huge environmental problem too, because every year 1.1 billion umbrellas are thrown away in the world, and no one really realizes that. But that is our main task, to really decrease that number and bring it down. Just for you to know, that's like the weight of 77,000 elephants. It's huge. And I think the great thing, being a designer and also being an entrepreneur, is that you can really change the world. And I think it's very important that all designers and entrepreneurs ask themselves this question, like, how are you going to change the world? Because governments are not going to change the world, they're way too slow for that, but only designers, entrepreneurs, and business people will. And I'll come back to that later. But here you can see our process. We basically analyzed all of the different frustrations when it comes to umbrellas. So they go inside out, they break all the time, they give you bad visibility from underneath the product, they poke you in the eye, and it's just a disposable product, and it's not special, not even for a retailer. As you can see on the picture, umbrellas are usually stacked away in a corner and just catching dust, and it's just not a sexy product. So we took that and we really tried to innovate this product. And in this process, we tried to be very naive. Well, some people call it outside of the box thinking, and we call it being naive. And I think as a good designer and entrepreneur, you should never lose your childish naiveness. So, we even considered magnetic fields above your head or helicopter constructions above your head. I mean, it couldn't be weird enough, but I think in the end you want something that is socially accepted. I mean, no one's going to walk around with a helicopter above its head, and also commercially attractive. So that's why our final design is not too far from a traditional umbrella, but it's still fundamentally different. And as the picture shows, we took the problem and we solved it. And during this process, we never thought about making a lot of money, because I think as a designer and as an entrepreneur, if you have that in mind, you'll end up making the wrong decisions. So here you can see some first drawings. The asymmetrical shape was something that was already early in the process, but the middle concept is an umbrella concept based on the bow and arrow concept. On the right you can see an inflatable umbrella, so it couldn't be weird enough, but in the end you need to make something that is commercially attractive. So I want to talk to you about our design methodology, because from the start we were very aware of the right design methodology. So and even today our company has grown to 20 people now, 2021, and still, in every step of our design process, we incorporate the three main pillars of the business. So one is obviously research and development. but yeah, marketing and sales is involved, but also production and logistics, because it should also be feasible to produce it and to make it. So in each step, these people are involved, and what usually happens in a lot of big companies is that this doesn't happen. So that the design department invents something that they find extremely sexy, but the salespeople cannot sell it, and the business doesn't make money from it. So that's why we have this strict methodology. In every phase, we involve everybody. Then during the process, we also have done a lot of product testing. So not only computer simulation tests, but also the wind tunnel test, which I've shown footage earlier, and also obviously real life testing, because in the end you also want a practical product that you want to test in real life. So then, we had the final design of an umbrella, but then what? Because that's, for a designer, usually it ends there, but for an entrepreneur, it starts here. So I really like this quote because it really applies to us. I mean, here we're 3 guys, we just graduated from university, but we were green as grass. And this quote says that victory usually goes to those green enough to underestimate the monumental hurdles they are facing. And it really applies to us because we had no clue what we were about to start, fortunately. So we started, green as grass, and we quickly also found out that the 3 of us are very different from each other. And in the beginning, that was very frustrating. For instance, my partner Gerard, who's in the middle, he can be very detail oriented, while I'm completely the opposite. So that led to tension in the beginning. But we invested a lot in this. So we went to personal coaching sessions to really understand ourselves and each other, and that proved to be very beneficial to the business, because at one point we were able to basically see the added value in the differences of each other, and also put our egos aside. And then we could make really big steps. And I see a lot of people start a business or a design agency with people that are similar, but we believe that if 2 people are similar, 1 is redundant. So try to find people around you that are different from a skill perspective, but also from a personality perspective. So, we had the design of the umbrella, then we had the team, but then what? I think usually if you start a company, there's 3 things you need to take care of. One is investors. In our case, we just graduated from university, so we had no money at all, so we had to find that externally. You need customers and you need production. But the problem is that they're all interrelated to each other, because investors will only invest in you if you have customers. But the customers will only be your customers if you have a product. But to have the product, you need production. But in order to finance the production, you need investors. So how are you going to break this cycle? What we did is that in a very early phase, we went to see our main big customers, and we also talked to our investors and arranged production at the same time. Until the point where we really had to invest. So we could convince the customers to sign letters of intent. Now, with those letters of intent, we could convince our investors to invest in the company. Then the bank also wanted to loan us money. With all of that chunk of money, we could finance our production, and we could make the products to ship to the customers. So it's very important to go to the customers in a very early phase of your business. Here you can see some pictures of my 2 partners, Gerard and Gerwin, in China. I mean, when we started this company, none of us had ever been in China before, but we were sure that we had to do our production in China. Not only because of the pricing issue, but also mainly because there's a lot of knowledge there. I think 98% of the world's production of umbrellas is in China. So for us it was clear to go there and So we went there, and yeah, here you can see Gerard and Gerwin having dinner, looking at a menu that they did not understand at all, rocking the karaoke bar. I mean, that all belongs to it. Yeah. A lot of people asked us when we went to China, but guys, are you sure about this? Because doesn't the word copyright mean the right to copy in Chinese? And yeah, we thought about that. In the end, we decided to still do it. But for us, especially to select the right factory, it was important that not everyone would see our design, because we were still filing the patent and it was in a very early phase. So what we did in order to select the right factory was that we briefed the factories with the design of a star, because for us it was important to understand if the umbrella factory would be good at manufacturing umbrellas with variable rib lengths. So because the front of our umbrella is a little bit shorter and the back is a little bit longer, so we sent them the design of a star where there's short and longer ribs, and based on those prototypes we actually selected the right factory, and then we gave them the real briefing of our umbrella. So we made those products at the factories, and the first container from China arrived, and that was great because we were so proud. We were little kids who, the best thing for us was almost that the boxes of the umbrellas contained our new corporate logo. We were so proud, and the first container consisted of 10,000 units. I mean, we had no clue how many umbrellas to make. So when the container arrived, we unloaded the container ourselves, because if you're a young entrepreneur, you don't have people to do that for you. So while we were unloading the container with the three of us, I received a call by Nova, which is a large current event TV show in the Netherlands. And I talked to them for about 3 minutes, and because they wanted us to be on the show that night. So I was completely excited, and when I hung up the phone after 3 minutes, I saw that I had just missed 16 phone calls. Because that morning I had sent out a press release, and that was picked up in a huge way by the media. So that was awesome for us. In October 2006, like 5 years ago, we had our market introduction, and like I said, the media heard about it and they just went crazy. Here you can see an overview of some of our media attention in the Netherlands. We were on the front page of the biggest newspaper in the Netherlands. There was even a newspaper who made a comic strip out of us. That's like the ultimate thing you can achieve when it comes to PR, so we were very proud of that. But it was not limited to the Netherlands. It quickly moved during those same days to other parts of the world. I mean, here you can see some things from the UK. On the bottom left, there's something from, I think it's a Scandinavian country. I don't even know where it's from, but it's really cool. And yeah, it went further and further. I think we were on the front page of newspapers in South Africa, on TV in China, 30 breakfast shows in Japan, and it just went on and on and on. It was an amazing experience and a great ride. So 9 days after market introduction, we were sold out. So at first we were like, yeah, that's awesome. And then we were like, oh shit, but we cannot deliver anymore. So what are we going to do? Then we decided, we thought to ourselves, okay, but why can't umbrellas be sold through vouchers? So what we did, we found out that a lot of people used our umbrellas as a corporate gift or as a gift to friends. But as we couldn't deliver anymore, we started selling vouchers. So people would order an umbrella online, then they would receive the voucher, so they would not be empty-handed at the party, at the birthday party, where they would show our umbrellas. So this worked in a great deal for us because people continued to order our umbrellas, and they were actually willing to wait 3 to 4 months for the delivery of their umbrellas. So for our business, it was great to fuel the cash flow. But before we came to the market, we told some people that we were going to launch a 50 euro umbrella because our umbrellas are in the 40 to 60 euro range. And when we told them that, everybody thought we were crazy because, I mean, a 50 euro umbrella, you're either, you know, no one thought we were going to sell those on a large scale, because an umbrella, you either get it for free or you buy it for, you know, 3-4 euros on the corner of the street. And yeah, so I like this quote: if customers only care about price, apparently you haven't given them anything else. And this is a short movie that shows that. All right. So then, you know, we proved that we could sell 50 euro umbrellas on a large scale. I mean, we'd even joined business plan competitions, and the jury they all thought we had a great business plan, but they just simply didn't believe that we were going to sell a 50 euro umbrella on a large scale. So that happened, and we were very happy. We sold out after 9 days, and then after 2 weeks after market introduction, the first warranty cases appeared. And that really hurt us, you know, because, you know, we thought we had developed this great product, an umbrella that wouldn't go inside out, that wouldn't break, and then all of a sudden the first batch of 10,000 units was full of teething problems, so kinderziektes in Dutch. And we had talked about this before our launch to multiple entrepreneurs and designers, and they told us that you know, a first batch of 10,000 units, that brings a lot of risks with it. But we thought, no, you know, that'll never happen to us because we're good designers and we've extensively tested the product, so, you know, these products are good. And then, yeah, as I said, the first batch was full of problems. So, you know, we told Gerwin, our third partner, like, okay, I think you'll have to go back to the factories in China, and you can only come back after the problem has been solved. So he was there for another 3 months in China, and all of a sudden he called us, and yeah, he had a very unclear story, but the basis was that he had solved the problem, and he was very proud of that, but we didn't understand it at all. So he said, you know what, guys, I'm at my hotel room, so I will make a movie explaining what I've changed to the product. So this is that movie. You can see it's a prototype that he made on his own, and he's testing this at his hotel room. As you can see, being alone in China for 3 months can make a man very lonely. So when we saw this, we were very excited, and actually, this change in the product is still incorporated in the products as it is as they are today. So that was in November 2006. Then 2 months later, Holland was terrorized by a mega storm. I don't know if you still remember that for the Dutch people that are viewing, but I think the roof of the central station in Amsterdam was blown off, and yeah, it was just better to stay inside. It was the wind force 12, and that day the Dutch 8 o'clock news, they called us, and they were like, hey guys, don't you have this unbreakable umbrella? And we were like, yeah. And yeah, well, we want to come by to test it because yeah, we think it would be a cool item on the 8 o'clock news. So we were really doubting, should we do this? Because what if the umbrella breaks? And yeah, we talked about it back and forwards internally. And in the end, we decided to simply do it, and they videotaped us. But little did we know that that same footage would be used the next day on ABC News in the US. And we didn't know that that same footage would also be used by Good Morning America, the largest breakfast show in the US, which is this footage. And back then we did not have any distribution in the US yet, but this was viewed by millions of people in the US. And I mean, this day our website went down because it had too much traffic. And we got so many requests from the US, it was incredible. So then we figured, you know, the US, it could be an interesting country for us. So let's see how we can do business there. And this just goes on and on. So I will go to the next slide in the presentation. So we analyzed which parties could be best for us to work with in the US. So we had 1 week where we visited all the major players in the US. So one of them is Totes, which is the largest umbrella brand in the world, and we visited them. Here you can see some of the differences. I mean, our office was a 25 square meter office in an office building, and they had their own building, as you can see. So there was a great difference. But and before we went there, we thought, well, you know, they'll probably listen to us for 5 minutes, steal the idea, and kick us out. But you know, we still want to try it. But the opposite happens, and they were very enthusiastic about it. And yeah, we ended up signing a deal with them, not only for the US, but also for Canada, the UK, and France. And yeah, that was a major deal for us. And all of a sudden, we had distribution in all of those major countries. And it went really fast because we also expanded to other parts of the world. And about 9 months after market introduction, we were active in a large part of Western Europe, North America, and Japan. So it went fast. Then what also fueled our business was that we won almost every major design award in the world. And also in the US in 2007, Time magazine selected us as one of the best inventions of the year, which was great for us. And we ended up losing to the iPhone, but I think that's not really a big problem. I mean, it's something you should be ashamed of. So, but we won the largest design awards in Germany, in Europe, in France, in Japan, in the US. Really incredible. Then people started writing books about us, about innovative entrepreneurship and design. Like all of a sudden we were the experts, but I mean, we were still quite green as grass, so we just did what we thought was best. Then we were invited to have lunch at the Royal Palace with our Prince and Crown Prince, which was really exciting. And a lot of people ask us, like, how did you do all of this with such a limited marketing budget? Because, you know, in the first 3 years, we only spent about 2,000 euros on marketing. And the next part of the presentation will be more marketing related, because I mean, it's one thing to design a very good product, but it's another thing to make it big and to commercialize it. So, but the thing is that the processes are quite similar. Marketing, above all, is also a design process. And what we thought from the beginning was, yeah, we don't have that much money, so we need to outsmart the competition instead of outspending them. So one thing that we did is we had to deal with a large bank in the Netherlands, and because we had actually brainstormed about, hey, why can't we let others pay for our marketing campaign? So we sold a large amount of umbrellas to the ING, a large Dutch bank, and they even promoted it online. So here you can see some of their advertisements online, and it didn't cost us anything. Another important step is to build smart relationships. We usually talk about smart relationships and not about public relations. And what it is, it's simply calling the newspaper or the magazine or the blog that you want to be featured at and tell them that you have a great story for them. So social media is a great way to do that. So for instance, this is a 3-page article about senz in the Sprout magazine, which is a large Dutch entrepreneurs magazine. And I simply followed this journalist on Twitter, and there's usually one time a month where journalists ask for people to be interviewed. So I simply grabbed the opportunity when it came, and that led to an article of 3 pages, which is great, obviously. So don't forget your social media in this to establish those smart relations. Then what we basically did is, it's a very simple formula. Usually we're not really into marketing formulas and things like that, but this basically explains how you can get the message that you express, how you can get those into the heads of the people that listen to you. And it says that the message should be simple, unexpected, credible, concrete, it should contain emotion, and it should be brought in the form of a story, not just a rational fact. And I will explain to you how we've done that for senz, so you can apply it to your own designs or your own business. So first of all, the message should be simple, because the thing is that people tend to remember only one thing. So if we were going to talk about, the umbrella doesn't go inside out, it doesn't break, doesn't poke you in the eye, it protects your back, it looks cool, and it won all those design awards, probably you won't remember one thing. So you want to keep it simple and only mention one thing. So we focus on the storm-proofness. So it's called the senz Storm umbrella, and we were always trying to emphasize this in our communication. Actually, the word storm umbrella has now been added to the Dutch dictionary, so that's also a cool accomplishment. But I'll show you later how we've emphasized that. So the message is simple, it should be unexpected too, because nowadays people tend to have way less time but more choices, especially in the retail environment. I once read a story about the US where it has over 40 different brands of aspirins. If you're the 40th brand entering that industry, you need to be remarkable, otherwise you're invisible. So that applies to the product itself, but also to the way you communicate. So, we found 3 guys crazy enough to jump out of an airplane with our umbrellas, which is very unexpected. These people, we paid them a very small amount because they really liked the idea, and it was 3 guys jumping out of an airplane. So they said, guys, if you simply pay for the jumps, which would be 250 euros, then we'll do that for you, and we'll also edit the movie for you, and we just think it's a cool idea. So we did that, but the funny thing was that 3 weeks before that, we had signed the deal in the US with the largest umbrella brand in the world, and we talked to their PR agency, and they actually had the same idea. And they also wanted to have people jump out of an airplane. So that was actually 3 weeks after we had done this ourselves. So I asked this PR agency, okay, that's a nice idea, but what's your budget for it? And they said, well, we think it would be around $25,000. And I said, wow, we just did the same thing in the Netherlands for 250 euros. So that's like 1% of your budget. So, we're always trying to outsmart the competition and to see, how we can do things better and also cheaper, because we don't have those big budgets. So the message is simple, it's unexpected, but it also needs to be credible. and you can really let the media help you gain credibility in this. We did it as follows. This is a movie of The Lab, which is the Dutch version of like Mythbusters and Brainiacs, and they called us and they asked us, hey guys, you have this umbrella that doesn't break, so we'd like to test that, but we'd like to test it in our way. So here you can see how they did that. So here they attached a huge rock to the umbrella and they throw it down. But the umbrella still didn't break, so they got quite frustrated with that. This is something else which has nothing to do with our umbrellas, but it's still fun. But as I said, they were sick and tired of it, so then they decided to blow up the umbrella. So, well, obviously the umbrella didn't survive this. The fabric broke, but they told us that the construction was still okay. So that was quite cool. And it led to a lot of free publicity. Another way to gain more credibility, in addition to using the media for this, is to use other brands to gain credibility. When we had our market introduction, we also had a deal with Max, the fashion brand, and that actually gave us instant credibility in the fashion industry. Another thing we did is that we made umbrellas for Audi, the car brand, and actually when we were pitching the product to them at their headquarters, they literally said, hey, but your umbrella, that's simply progress through technology. We were like, yeah, exactly, which is Audi's slogan, obviously. But then, as I mentioned earlier, Time Magazine in the US selected us as one of the best inventions of 2007. And we had issued a press release about this. And I was interviewed by a journalist, and I said, well, losing to the iPhone also kind of feels like winning. And that actually became the header of their article, as you can see over there. And then we actually used Apple and the iPhone to gain credibility ourselves. So another thing is that the message should also be concrete. And in order to do this, you need to go back to what you define as your simple claim. So in our way, that was storm umbrella and the 100 km/h umbrella. And when you want to be concrete, you should always refer back to this simple claim. So in our case, it's always proving the storm claim. And yeah, this is the video of Gerwin, our third partner, in the wind tunnel testing our product. You've seen it before, so I will skip this one. So the message is simple, unexpected, credible, concrete, and then it also needs to contain emotion. Especially nowadays, because nowadays buying intentions of consumers has shifted from IQ to EQ. And what I mean with that is that people used to buy on rational grounds, but nowadays people never buy products on rational grounds anymore. It's purely emotional. In particular, the business that we are at, because for instance, fashion, if you look at 200 euro designer jeans, I mean, there's nothing rational about that. That's purely emotion. But if you know that your consumers buy on an emotional basis, you also should approach them in that way. And that means that you want to touch them emotionally. You want to communicate to the heart and not to the head. So don't bore them with a lot of technical specs, but approach it in a different way. We simply did that by providing energy, enthusiasm, and creativity. Creativity because marketing, just as design, is a design process. This is a great blog of a lady that we met in the US. She interviewed Gerwin and me, and I think it's very important to read the bottom paragraph. I don't know if that's visible on the TV screen, so I will read it for you. It says, created by three Dutch friends, Gerwin, Gerard, and Philip, the senz umbrella is a phenomenon that is huge overseas and is just starting to gain notoriety here in the US. And I have to admit, I think the guys behind the project are just adorable. On their company website, the boys, who are all under 30, have little bios about themselves, and they include funny statements like, Philip is an underrated singer in the shower, and Gerwin proudly ranks among the best male seamstresses in the world, a remarkable skill that has helped him earn multiple Employee of the Month honors. How cute is that? So I really like how she writes this, because apparently we had been able to touch her emotionally, and she simply passes that on to her readers in her way. So yeah, that is so strong about adding emotion to your communication. And a lot of people ask me like, hey, but isn't that different because, you know, you guys have a B2C product, and what about B2B companies? But I think it's similar because it's about making contact with the buyer of your products. And yeah, as it says, no contact means no contract. So finally, the message that you send across should also be brought in the form of a story. And internally, I always talk about, you know, the story you tell is the product you sell. And our designers usually hate it because, you know, for them the product is much more important. But I think it's important to realize what the story is of your business or your design. And the strength of a story is that, you know, it's not about what people hear, it's what they repeat. And if all Greek and Roman stories had been written in bullets, would anybody have remembered them? I think that's the power of a story, that people can pass it on. I mean, it's one thing to scream to everybody how great you are, but it's much more powerful if other people do that. So here's a commercial that shows the power of a great story. It's by Canal Plus, so it's not from us.
Incroyable. Hein? T'entends ça, chérie?
Ah oui, c'est fou.
I think that's a great example that you should never underestimate the power of a great story. So if you add all of those factors together, you know, if your message is simple, if it's unexpected, if it's credible, if it contains emotion and it's brought in the form of a story, those are the perfect ingredients for viral marketing campaigns. So, for instance, we did that with those three guys jumping out of an airplane, and it was downloaded, I think, several hundreds of thousands times on YouTube. So again, how are you going to change the world as a designer or as an entrepreneur? And I want to quote Kofi Annan, who says, you know, we're all in the same boat. If there's a hole in the boat, it affects all of us. Also, if you're on the other side of the boat. And I want to end my presentation with this video.
EO Netherlands.
senz proudly presents.
The world is changing. We all know this. New realities are developing. There's a new truth, other standards, values. This change goes fast. Very fast. We all realize we have to be more careful with the resources and commodities Mother Nature gives us. So we have to focus on the right issues with all our knowledge, expertise, and talents. Society expects corporations not only to act in a reliable but also in a responsible way. We all have to take more account of the society we are part of, not just for ourselves but also for the future generations. Society expects them to redesign tomorrow. This change in attitude is not something to be feared. As a matter of fact, it will prove to be a blessing because of the many opportunities, especially for you, being an entrepreneur. What is more exciting than being an adventurer and exploring new horizons? What is more challenging than thinking out of the box and creating new ideas for the very first time? What is more energizing for entrepreneurs, more inspiring than developing new realities? EO University Amsterdam, September 2011. Change the world.
This still gives me goosebumps, this video. So that's a wrap. I want to wish you all success changing the world as a designer or as an entrepreneur. I think the next step is that there could be questions amongst all of you. I'm looking at Gerard, who's kind of helping me out here.
There's a little delay in the connection, so the question might pop up a little later than you present.
Okay.
Hey, a question by Anouk. You also won the Design Management Europe Award. Maybe you can tell a little about that.
Yeah, that was quite cool. Yeah, that was a few years ago. We won the Design Management Europe Award, and that's basically about how you integrate design and design thinking in your business. And I briefly touched upon it when I talked about our design methodology, where we basically incorporate all the different departments of our business in our development process. And I'm very excited about that. We won this Design Management Europe Award, and that's also actually one of the reasons that we can present our story here at this webinar.
There's a question by Max Calls. Will you continue developing products with wind technology?
That's a good question. If we are gonna develop more products based on wind technology, we are thinking about new solutions. I mean, we're always working on new products behind the scenes. Things that we will always continue with the umbrellas. We're now working with, for instance, on a parasol, because a parasol has the similar product as an umbrella, where it also is badly wind resistance. So in that process we can really use the knowledge that we've gained in our umbrella design. So but there's definitely room for more products in the future.
How long did it take to get funding to start? Question by Walker.
Oh, good question. How long it takes to get funding to start? Well, for us, it took a bit longer than we hoped for. I remember that we started our company in September, and then we told each other, like, okay, in November we should have an investor on board, otherwise we'll pull the plug. In the end, we came to terms with the investors in May, so it took about 9 months, which is, I think, a normal time, quite quickly, actually. And we also took a bit longer in this process deliberately to understand, what kind of investors would be on the market. Because, for instance, the first investors we talked to, they were enthusiastic about the idea and about us, and they said, well, guys, we'd like to invest in you, but as investors, we will start off with 100% of the shares, and once you reach certain milestones, you can earn them back. And, well, maybe that's interesting to some designers that don't really want to start a business, but we decided that we didn't want to do it that way, and we've talked to, I think, between 10 and 12 investors, and in the end we decided to choose the partner that we could leverage most on, and it proved to be very, very beneficial for us, because one of them is a huge marketing guru with an extremely large international network on the commercial side, and the other one has a lot of experience in building businesses, making them big, lining up production in the Far East, things like that. So they really helped us leverage the business. Are there any other questions? No additional questions popping up? Then I think we'll wrap up. I want to thank you all for watching us, and again, success changing the world. Thank you.